Hello everyone, thanks for watching this video, and this is the 10K special video, and here we are launching one of the another playlist called API Pothi Talk on SAM channel. And in this playlist we are going to interact with the world top educator, and here we will be having our first demanding top world educator is none other than his introduction will go in number. He has around 49 courses on Udemy, as well as he is able to manage 8,40,000 enrollment. Following with that, he got around 1,93,000 of review, and he crossed 2 plus millions of followers on his social media account. He is none other than founder of In 28 Minutes Ranga Karanam. Thanks for accepting our invitation, sir. And here we are welcoming you on first episode of our API Pothi Talk. Thanks for coming.
Thanks a lot. First of all, congratulations on reaching 10K subscribers. I'm really happy to see a lot of content creators coming from India, and yeah, it's really great to see you doing great work and reach 10K subscribers. So yeah, it's been a successful uh, last few years on Udemy, and as any content creator would know, luck has a huge role to play as well. So yeah, it's consistent work, luck, and also having people like you who are really passionate about tech. Right? So those are all the factors which were important in this success. Thank you for inviting me.
So proud of so proud of you, sir. Yeah, thank you, sir. Sir, so we are just starting with a very normal question that everyone has, and you are the better person to give this answer, no other than you. So that nowadays work from home is going on very rapidly. Everyone is doing. It was earlier also there, but now it got highlighted because of everyone is doing. So in that way, professional have challenges that they are not able to get time to spend on their self to learn new technology. They are around the office work, or if you get some time, they have to spend with the family. So earlier it was not like that. Earlier they had the weekend to spend their self to learn new technology, but now it is not the case for everyone. So I just wanted you to give the guidance to us that what is how you are starting your day and what is your time, how you are managing the time.
Uh, like my like one of the most important things for me is like to be clear about your priority, right? My number one priority, as always, I mean, I'm talking about professional priorities here, right? So my number one professional priority is to be responsive to students. So my typical work day, like, I mean, obviously there are few things I do before that, but like professionally, my day starts with like answering students' questions. So the first thing I do in the day typically is go to Udemy, answer almost all the pending questions which are out there. The second thing I would do is to look at the emails. Yeah, and third thing is like look at all the social media channels. So that's how my day starts, and that's the only time I look at all this. So in the rest of the day, my focus will be on the next course that we are creating or the next course which we are updating. So it's basically two parts. The first part of the day, like the first hour, 45 minutes, it might some days go on to 90 minutes also, is to ensure that like I communicate well with everybody, like especially learners. Once that part is done, like my focus would be on the next thing, on the new course that we are working on, or let's say I'm updating my microservice course. So that's what would be the focus. So that's how I divide my time. And the second part is optional. The first part is mandatory. Supporting is that 90 minutes. Unless I'm on a vacation, I would definitely do those 90 minutes irrespective of whatever happens. But the second part, which is working on the course, is optional. These days, like earlier, it was like I used to work 5 to 6 days a week. Now I probably work 2 to 3 days a week. But on those 2 3 days, on the days I don't work, the second optional part will not be there.
Wow, wow, wow. Yeah, I have seen that. I mean, whenever the students are raising the question on Udemy, they are getting very prompt response. It is not more than 24 hours I have seen that they are not waiting for the response. Very prompt response, clear and crisp. So if they are getting issue in installation or doing some configuration, you are the person who is responding them promptly. So student is not facing the problem. That is
Absolutely.
very
I
good.
also have a team. Like I have a wonderful team. I have people like Mahendra, Devrup, and also there are people like Helen who are doing really, really good job
Oh wow.
at responding to the questions. And also we have other co-instructors who work with me, like Ravi, who's also doing a great job at answering the questions. So all these people answer questions, and if there is something remaining, I would look at it anyway. So we have people around the world looking at these questions, and yeah, it's important, right? So if a student has a question, it's important that he gets a response back, especially because in the online, like whatever time you want. But if there is some showstopper, it becomes difficult, and that's where we try. I mean, obviously, it's very very difficult, right? So
Right,
it's like getting the providing the proper support is very very challenging, and we try to do our best there.
No, everyone is getting support. There is no question that people are not getting. Okay. Because of priority, probably it was getting delayed for few hours, but I'm seeing that everyone is getting response. That is good actually.
Yeah, that's something which we definitely ensure.
Yeah,
We would
that
want
is good. Yeah,
everybody. Yeah, yeah,
yeah. The great thing is that no, I mean, in this world where the lots of people are there, getting a belief right is very difficult. And the students or professional believing you, and that's why they are enrolling into your code, and they are spending time on that code. So it's our we have to justify their time. We have to respect their time. In between, we cannot
absolutely.
leave them. That is the very
I
difficult.
think you're making a wonderful point there, right? So the most valuable thing today for me is health. The second most valuable thing is time,
This
right?
time,
If
yeah,
you
yeah,
lose time, I mean, there is nothing.
nothing.
It doesn't come back. And like, if you look at most of the courses, students might be actually spending less. Like, if you look at the cost of the course, it is much much less compared to the value of the time they are investing. And
Right,
it's
right.
very very important that
Yeah,
they get the right returns, right? If they are investing 10 hours, 20 hours in
yeah,
a
yeah, yeah,
course, I
yeah.
want them to be getting the right amount of knowledge back, which would help them to do really, really well at their careers. And especially, as you said, it's very challenging times, right? So it's
Yeah.
not like today working from home, like people are spending a lot of time on the computers and like they don't have so much time to learn. And we would want
Seriously,
to
yeah,
maximize what they can learn at
yeah,
home. So
yeah,
yeah, I think all of them go together. Yep.
yeah. So now, just following with that, like, I mean, you have thought that okay, today I'm going to launch these courses, or I'm just going to record these courses on the various platforms. So, how you are understanding your audience? That how you have must be having some target audience that you have in your mind that I need to target this audience. So, how you are understanding the mind of target audience in the sense of if we will deliver the course, everyone will get benefited out of that. No, it shouldn't be that it is this guy's fresher or his experience is 10 plus experience. Not like that. We have to make them everyone understand. So, how you are rectifying this one?
Yeah, it's that's a challenge always, right? So whenever you try to create something, try to create content, you should be very clear about who the audience is. And one of the biggest advantages I have is that I have almost like I've worked 15 years in the industry before I started it. So I worked with a lot of developers in like thousands of developers in my career. Like I've performed a number of roles like tech lead or architect. So during this experience, I understood like what people really expect from when they would want to learn something, right? So and also I've worked with tons of projects, right? So I've worked with so many projects that I have a very clear understanding of what are the challenges when you create a new project. So yeah, that's basically like the things which I bring into any new course. Right? So whenever I create a new course, I would try and think what are the top 10 things somebody needs to know to be
Right.
really good at it. For example, if I'm teaching, let's say, Kubernetes or Docker or AWS or Azure or Google Cloud, whichever one I'm teaching, what are the top 10 things somebody who tries this course should know? I should be really clear about that, right? So that's the first thing. That's the first thing I would want to focus on. I would typically focus on when I start to create a course. And The second thing is how do we teach it in the 28 minutes approach, right? So we hate theory, so we want
Yeah.
to make it as practical as possible, right? So it's like, how do you teach those 10 things about something in a very, very practical way, in a step by step approach? So that would be the second goal. The first thing is to be clear about what you want to teach. The second thing is how to teach it. Like, what are the examples you want to use? How do you construct? Like, it's like a movie, right? You don't want, like, I want to teach 10 things, but you don't want to teach them in the right order, in the increasing order of complexity.
Yeah.
And it should be like a movie where you slowly reveal the mystery, and by the end, everything is clear, right? So that's exactly the same approach we take to designing the course, right? So you have a clear objective of what you want to convey, and then a lot of effort is spent on how to convey it. Like, what should be taught first, what should be taught next, what are the individual steps. So a lot of planning goes into that, right? So designing each one and making it very, very interesting, like using the right example. I think that's what is the place where we actually spend a lot of effort.
One of the mystery I have seen in your code, as I already mentioned you earlier, that you have wrote the REST template to communicate from one microservice to another microservice. You written around 8 lines of code, and suddenly you said that this is not going to work. We are deleting. We have the shortcut. We have the good thing in microservices, which is thin client, and that was the mystery. Mystery. So everyone got shocked. Oh my god! How it is possible? How easy this is to connect? So this is the way to make audience or student that aware that okay, we have something, making them interactive.
Exactly.
It's like
That's a
movie
very, very
kinds of
important
thing.
point that you're making. Yeah, absolutely. It's a very, very important point you're making. Right. So if you look at all our courses, whether I'm talking about like JSP Servlet, Spring MVC, like then we created Spring Boot course, and then like even the Spring courses. So there are a lot of changes which happen, right? And if I actually do it the old way and the new way, you'd be very clear what is the difference between them. So, for example, if I'm trying to teach how to build a web application, right? So the course that we have would actually first teach you how to build it with using JSP servlets. Then what we would do is use Spring MVC to build it, and then we would look at how to build it with Spring Boot, and then we would look at how to use XML, how to use annotations. So it gives you the entire journey in a very, very quick time. So you have a good understanding of how technology has evolved over a period of time.
Right.
Especially this is important because when you look at applications, right? So when you go to a real project, it will not be just the latest stuff, right?
Okay.
If I go to a project, I might have certain JSPs I need to maintain over a period of time, or I might have like still XML configuration that I need to maintain from some Spring old XML configuration. So yeah, I feel it's important to have a history to understand the journey the technology went through, and that's the reason why I like that. I like bringing that perspective. Okay, do something using the latest technology, and sometimes remove the modern stuff, take it to the old way of doing things, and slowly get to the modern approach. So that actually gives a flavor of different things. And another big advantage is you'll be able to do really well at the interviews. A lot of times at interviews, the conversations will be what is the difference, right? How are you doing things earlier? How is it done now? So you'll be really prepared for that as well.
Oh, that is great actually. Yeah, so few points I have observed that your courses is not much talking about the theory. You are just giving few lines of theory and just coding it, showing the output. Okay, this is the good thing. Yeah, I have also followed the same in our channel. If you have gone through any of the playlist, I have never explained much of the theory, never written in any PPT. If I want to explain about the Python, how I Python use, I have never explained in my playlist. Since everyone know, that's why they came to learn Python. How to install Python, yeah. And then I have started.
Also, another thing important is theory should come out from the examples that we use. If I tell something theoretically, people might remember for a day, might remember for a few hours. But if I'm showing something, if they are practicing it, then they'll remember it for months, years. So their time which they are spending to learn will be much more effective, because whatever they are learning, they'll remember for a long time, right? So that's the thing, right? If you see, like, just like people would say, right? If you tell me something, I'll probably remember it for something for less amount of time. But if you actually make me do it, right, then I'll definitely remember it for a very, very long time. That's exactly the approach we want to take.
Yeah, and that there is one good example that when people will go into the interview, the interviewer will ask what is the difference between most favorite question everyone difference between abstract class and interface. They will give like anything answer, and suddenly interviewer just twist to that. They said, okay, just tell me where in your project where have you used, and gone, gone. So
Exactly.
yeah.
Exactly.
Now, following with that, I mean, this is your obviously second inning. First inning was your, corporate job. Okay. So, how are you enjoying your in 28 minutes that you probably
I mean,
missed doing your, regular job?
no, I mean, it's been a wonderful journey, right? So the fact that today I'm able to reach so many learners around the world, and I have the opportunity to make a huge difference to their careers, right? So that makes me really, really happy. Today, people say, like, I have got 200% rise, or I'm able to do this and that because of your courses. I mean, that makes me really, really, really happy. The fact that I'm able to make such a big difference to them, that's like, yeah, I think that's great. And in addition, I have my like free time as well. So one of the main reasons why I started in 28 minutes was because uh, like I wanted to move away from like the traditional time and money approach, and I wanted to get into something where the income I make is not connected to the amount of time I spend at the job, right? So that was my main goal when I started in 28 minutes, and today I'm able to get that as well, right? So today I can choose when I want to work, what I want to work on, and who I want to work with. So yeah, like that flexibility is all because of the learners, right? The fact that students are learning, loving my courses, gives me the time to spend on myself, as well as to spend a lot of time on the courses as well. So it's a win-win on all sides, and yeah, it's been a great journey.
Yeah, one of the interesting thing what I got to know, I mean, I have observed is that if you are working in a project to whom you are benefiting, you are one team or one organization. Okay, if you are educating the developer can build multiple products, hundred of products throughout his career. So
Yeah,
technically, you are also helping the developer to build multiple cracks rather than one particular organization where probably you have worked for the project. So here
absolutely.
the contribution go very high.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's where I think Udemy played a critical role for me, right?
Yeah,
So I know I can create really, really good content. I created content on YouTube. It was okay. I mean, I was doing pretty okay. Uh, but this scale, whichever I have right now, is possible only because of Udemy.
oh, yeah,
Once I
correct.
started putting content on Udemy, and Udemy started taking that content out to everybody around the world, that's when a lot of people now discover in 28 minutes through Udemy. Like a
Yeah,
lot of people don't even know that there's a YouTube channel for us.
yeah,
So yeah, it's been an interesting ride, and both YouTube and Udemy, I think, played like Udemy played a bigger role
big
than
role.
YouTube,
Yeah, yeah.
but it's been a good ride.
Because the concept of Udemy is really great. The very cheap price, very wide range of course, always course is getting updated, lifetime access. Okay, so
Yeah,
no one has to worry that okay it will go. And then when Udemy is approving their courses, the Udemy backend team they are understanding that courses is useful. They are not just approving any other courses. Like Udemy, YouTube, anyone can do anything. There is nothing right, nothing wrong, right? Until unless we are going in comment section writing something. But Udemy
yeah,
has very clear. They are taking the feedback from the students who are enrolled. Depends on that. If you search in the Udemy now microservice, the first course will come in 28 minutes. AWS first course in 28 minutes. It is not like that. It is coming. It is coming just because of the content it has internally, and the people has given the review for that.
exactly. Yeah, it's always uh, and in addition, like the audience profile is different, right? So you don't go to YouTube just to learn, right? So
Yeah, I
on
agree.
YouTube, people go to for a number of reasons, mostly for entertainment,
Yeah,
right? So
yeah.
it's also like finding the right medium is very, very important, and that's where Udemy, like if somebody is going to Udemy, is definitely going there to learn.
For
He's
learn
not
only.
going there to have, yeah, it's not just entertainment, right? You're going there to learn,
Yeah,
and that's where I think there is a match as well. So the platform match also is important.
yeah. No distraction. If people will go, they are going with the mindset to learn. But if you go
Exactly.
same mindset with YouTube, chances that ad will come. You will click on ad and you will start listening the songs, whatever. You will get
Yeah, and
distraction.
having said that, like I learn a lot more on YouTube than you. So
Yeah.
I mean, like I produce a lot of Udemy content, but as a consumer, if I want to learn something, YouTube is the first place I go to, because still
Oh,
I believe there is a lot of awesome content on YouTube. It's just that it's not easily discoverable.
yeah.
I mean, yeah, it's just that if you want to get the best Spring Boot content, just searching for Spring Boot is not sufficient. So
Yeah.
you should know more about Spring Boot, and then you'll be able to find out the best
Yeah.
content on Spring Boot. So it's tricky that way. But again, YouTube is not built for education. It's built for a completely different purpose altogether.
Yeah. That should match correct keyword. Then only you will able to get the correct thing.
Exactly.
Okay. So now coming to the another question that okay. So the way of explaining the course or way of designing the course from other in 28 minutes is very different. Okay. So I'm just trying to understand that how, I mean, what is your challenge when you are designing your course to make it simple to everyone should understand? What the challenge you are facing? Some of the, suppose that you are recording some courses, you know that what this is, this line of code is doing, but letting other know and you don't know the exact the target audience, then how you are, facing this challenge? And this challenge is probably you also have occurred many times.
Exactly. That's like any course that you take, right? Like whether I'm creating a Docker course or a Kubernetes course or a functional programming course for that matter, there are a lot of things that you want to teach, right? So if I want to teach functional programming, it's a completely different thing from structured programming or like traditional procedural programming, right?
Right.
So yeah, it's like how do you teach it, right? So there are so many new concepts. How do you teach them, and how
Yes.
do you teach them in a hands-on way, right?
Yeah.
So that's the challenge. I mean, if you want to teach Kubernetes, for example, right? So Kubernetes is so complex. You have a cluster. You need like you need to manage the hardware. You need to manage the software which goes in. So a lot of things that you want to focus on when you explain Kubernetes as well. So a lot of effort goes in there, right? So for example, when I was working on Kubernetes, the introduction module I recorded it 4 times. I think so. It's like I recorded it once. I did not like it, threw away the entire recording for a couple of days, and then I started writing a book for Kubernetes. So I said, okay, this is not working. How would I explain it in a book? So I actually wrote down like a couple of chapters, an introduction chapter for Kubernetes in a hands-on way, right? So I don't want theory. So
Mhm.
I wrote a chapter and then I recorded based on that chapter. So yeah, explaining concepts is a very tough thing. I mean, I have to recycle through multiple loops a lot of times, especially when I'm, for example, like I mean, very recently I was actually trying to explain what is Spring Boot, right? So even as a thing as simple as Spring Boot, explaining it in a step-by-step approach, uh, in a hands-on practical way, there are challenges associated with it. And the only way I found to go through that is to do the same introduction a few times. So I do it
Yes.
once, throw it away, do it second time, throw it away, do it third time. Definitely it will get better, right? It's all about, so if I understand what is Spring Boot, if I understand what is Kubernetes, the rest of the course is going to be a cakewalk. The first
Right.
hour where I'm trying to understand a new concept is the most important part. So we do put a lot of effort. It's not just magically something appears. Like there's a lot of
Certainly. Yeah.
effort which goes background trying to introduce it in a good way, because introduction is all that is. Like if you ask somebody who watched the Kubernetes course from 20 minutes, he'll definitely talk about the first 30 minutes of the course, right? So we spend a lot of effort into that, in trying to introduce the concept in a very nice hands-on practical.
Yeah, and same happened with me. And sometimes back, like I was recording the Stream API in Java 8. Okay, I know all the concept, but I was not very sure that how to let other know. I have recorded one time.
Exactly.
I just coded everything. What is the use of this one? What is I just coded, and then and this video went 1.5 hours. I thought, and then I didn't like the video. I know, okay, I understand. I just
Exactly.
let my wife know, okay, are you understanding anything? She said, no, I didn't understand. Then I said, if you are not understanding, then how my audience will understand? Then I recorded. Then I was
Exactly.
1 month. I have just keep thinking that how to figure out. Then I have drawn one figure, a diagram. That one like that. If you have seen this
Right.
video, I have drawn one, figure. Okay, here the stream, here is the filter, here is the process. Then it is little bit, matching the concept, and it went very good video. And this is my second top view video in my YouTube channel.
Good. Yeah, I think that's important, right? So, yeah, especially when you're talking about complex things, it really helps. Like the step-by-step approach that we take, right? So I don't want to introduce more than one concept in a video,
That's
right?
right.
So that students have focus, like they are focused on that and they understand that well, and then you build another one. So that's very important as well. So instead of trying to explain everything about something, trying to build it step by step,
Step by
more
step.
like a that also is like crucial thing. Right? Trying to introduce too many things at the same time also makes it very complex.
Yeah. So nowadays I'm just getting multiple question in my comment section, and one of the hot question I was getting is that like we have the two basically role, developer and QA primarily. Okay. So developer is already coding, and nowadays QA also have interested to code. Okay, they also want to switch from QA to development because right, I am a fresher. I just went into the organization. I really don't have track on my uh, resume where the organization will going to put. I have to work it. So some of the fresher becomes a developer initially. Some of the fresher becomes QA initially, and we cannot deny that responsibility because for fresher the job is important, not the role at very first time. Okay, and then now after 2 or 3 years they realize that okay, I'm done, I got fair experience, now I want to jump from dev QA to dev environment. So what is your comment on that, how they can go through that?
Right. I think the first thing that you need to think about is what do you like? Do you like testing or do you like development? If you like testing, then I think you should focus on automation testing. Trying to learn some kind of an automation framework like Selenium, for example.
Kubernetes,
Try and learn
Selenium,
basics
yeah.
of programming. Exactly. Try and learn fundamentals of a programming language. You don't need to be an expert. You don't need to worry about data structures, algorithms, and things like that. Try and understand the syntax of one language, like Java or Python. Be proficient enough to be able to solve simple problems, and then learn some kind of automation testing. So that will be good. So that's one thing that they can do. The other thing they can also do is to learn the cloud, right? So today, to learn the cloud, for example, if you want to do a AZ900 or a deep like Azure 900, if you would want to learn Azure or Google Cloud or AWS, like there are simple certifications which don't need technical knowledge. Like for example, AWS has Cloud Practitioner, Azure has AZ900, like Google Cloud has Google Cloud Digital Leader. So you can take any of these certifications as well. Cloud is very important knowledge these days. So and you don't need to be technical to be learning the cloud. So those would be two options if you want to remain on the testing side itself. So automation testing and a little bit of the cloud. However, if you're interested in pure development, right? If you are really interested in pure development, then probably you should. It involves a lot of effort because then you need to learn a lot more things as well. So I would recommend you to like be good at programming and also try and learn to build something, right? Whether you want to build a REST API, whether you want to build a web application or a full stack application, you decide what you want to build and then try and learn how to build that, right? So try to build something and then you can also learn the cloud. So those are the two things that I would advise. So if you are on if you are not interested in programming per se, you want to remain on the testing side, then automation test, right? But if you would want to become a pure developer, then probably learn programming, build something, like build a web application, build a REST API, build a full stack application, and in addition, like having a knowledge of one of the clouds will be really.
Oh, great. Yeah, great. This is supposed to be a good path for QA to become developer. And yeah, in that if they learn the cloud also, they can put the automation inside the cloud only, automation script also.
Absolutely.
So when
Yeah,
the
and slowly they
production.
can.
Hmm.
Yeah, and slowly they can like once you learn the cloud, the advantage is that uh, you can learn DevOps much more easily. Learning DevOps outside the cloud is tough, but once you are inside the cloud, you have a
Yeah,
good introduction to what's happening in the cloud.
yeah,
Doing DevOps, running automation tests in the cloud is also very good.
great. So now, like I mean, nowadays, I mean, earlier full stack word was also there when Struts one, Struts two, JSF was there in market. But now, from like 5 or 6 years, that this word is booming everywhere. And what are the job description is coming? They are very quoted in bold that full stack developer. So I just
Right.
wanted to know that, like being a full stack developer, how proficient developer should be in all the area. we have the UI layer, you have the controller, you have the DB. This is the main three area, right? So and how developers should be proficient in all the area? Is it mandatory to proficient in all the area, or knowledge is okay?
Yeah. So if you look at the entire life cycle, right? Let's consider example full stack application. You have maybe a REST API in the backend, maybe like Spring Boot or Quarkus or Micronaut, whichever, or it might be a Python backend, whatever. Right. So you have a backend REST API and you have a front end application. It might be React, Angular, Vue, whichever.
Yeah.
Right. And if you look at today's world, probably it's deployed to the cloud. Right. So it's deployed somewhere on the cloud. So these are the general areas, important areas when we talk about a full stack application, right? So yeah, if you are talking about a back-end developer who is trying to learn full stack, the key skill for him is back-end, right? For him, he should be good at the language, whether it's Java, Python. He should be good at the frameworks, whether it's Django or Spring Boot or Quarkus. They should be good at building REST API. So that's they have to be really, really good at. They should also be the knowledge on the front end side does not really need to be 100%. Even if you have pretty decent knowledge of JavaScript and good enough knowledge of Angular and React, it should be sufficient for a full stack developer. For a full stack developer whose core skills are back end. But there can also be full stack developers whose core skill is front end, right? So those guys are good at Angular, those guys are good at React, Angular or React or Vue. They are good at JavaScript. And in case there is a need, they can also touch the backend REST API. So that's how I see it. I don't think somebody can be an expert at everything.
Yeah.
It should be more of, okay, you have a core part and you have good knowledge on some other parts. And for all these guys, I think these days, understanding the cloud is also very, very important. Right?
Yeah.
So having good knowledge of where you are deploying it. If you are deploying it to AWS, then having good knowledge on AWS or Azure or Google Cloud, whichever cloud you're making use of, that's also very, very important.
Yeah, so probably what I understood that full stack means that you know everything, but not be a proficient in all the area. Like if any error occur, our responsibility is to understand that from where this error are coming. At least we should know. Being a UI proficient, being a backend, or being a database or cloud, we should know from where this error are coming in out. So if we got to know from where, fixing is the altogether different task that we can fix anyhow. But being a full stack developer, we should know from where it is coming. That is, I think.
Absolutely. You should have a good overview of the entire architecture of your application. You should be having very good knowledge on a specific part, whichever part you are focused on. You should have really, really good in-depth knowledge, and you should have okayish knowledge on the rest of the parts.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, people should not be proficient in all that. If you are there, you are well and good. But you are not. Everyone shouldn't. Don't know everything, right? So that organization is
and
also
that's
knowing.
actually the approach I like. See, we have full stack courses as well. So I have a full stack course on Angular, full stack course on React. Even in those courses, we don't make you an expert on Angular or React. It's not easy. It's not easy that you cannot become an expert on JavaScript in just doing a 10-hour course.
Right.
It needs a huge amount of investments, right? Whether you want to, doing something with Angular is different from being an expert on Angular, right? So the goal is to be able to do most of the things on Angular and not to be an expert on Angular, for example.
Correct. So nowadays, from long time of periods, there are two, pool as coming for the software engineer. One pool is data structure way. Another pool is like framework pool. Okay, even though data structure pool also is going to meet framework pool only at some point of time. But when the recruitment is going, when the product base is more focusing on the data structure, yeah, initially, for them like framework is just a template. Okay, but when you come to the out of the product base, they don't want that much data structure, but they need the proficient in the framework. So how you are giving your thought on this two pool?
Well, it's natural, right? So if you look at let's go to the basics, right? So if you want to, let's say, learn something, I want to learn programming, I want to learn data structures, algorithms, I want to learn frameworks, probably I would want to learn DevOps and cloud, right? If you look at the amount of effort which is involved, learning programming is very, very difficult, right? learning to get good at programming, even to solve basic problems with programming, is very, very difficult. Maybe it's a few months effort minimum to learn the basics.
Right.
Same is the case with data structures and algorithms. They take time. It's not like I read a book, I become good at data structures and algorithms. It takes time. It takes a long time for you to be good at these. The same is the case with building your first application. If you're building your first web application, or first full stack application, or you are building your first Android application, these are very difficult things to do, right? Because there is a lot of learning that happens. These are at least a month to a few months effort. But if you look at frameworks, right? If I'm good at programming, I don't think it takes a huge while to be able to develop good applications in Spring. If I'm good at Java, I can learn Spring Boot in 15 days. If I have the good guidance, if I have good people to reach out to, I don't think Spring Boot should be difficult to learn. The same is the case with Docker or Kubernetes also for me, right? So to be proficient enough to use Docker or Kubernetes, probably a couple of weeks or 4 weeks should be more than sufficient. The same is the case for me even with cloud and DevOps. However, the fundamentals are very, very difficult to learn. They are like it's a month to a few months, right? And the goals of product companies and IT services companies are little different. The needs are very, very different, right? So that's where like there's a difference in what kind of learners they would want to target, right? So from I think looking at from a learner's perspective, it's about understanding what you want. Like if you are enjoying data structures, if you are enjoying algorithms, then go ahead, learn data structures and algorithms, and like target one of the biggest companies target one of the companies that you want to target. However, if you find data structures and algorithms really, really hard, then you have a way out, right? So learn programming, then focus on learning frameworks, then probably get a job, and then learn data structures and algorithms.
Yeah.
So it's about what you want. It's not really so whatever you want, whatever your goals are, you should be clear on them, and based on it, decide which path to take. But the summary for me is learning frameworks is easy. Learning new technology like Docker, Kubernetes, or anything is easy if you're good at the fundamentals.
Right.
If you're good at programming, if you're good at your programming language, if you are focused on data structures and algorithms, if you're good on them, then learning other things is much, much more easier.
Right. Data structure is the concept that we are building throughout the day user experience. It's not that we will read one line and we will understand. Frameworks are predefined thing. They have the set of configuration, they set of thing. Inside that we are doing the logic. The logic will go again with the data structure.
Exactly. So it's more like the use of data structures is also another thing which needs to be discussed, right? So I've worked in I was part of an IT services company, and I had pretty okay knowledge of data structures and algorithms. I'm not an expert on them, but I hardly use them, right? So I hardly solve problems where I made use of even 5% of my data structures knowledge.
Correct.
So yeah, it's also that which comes into picture. The data structures. If I call creating an object structure as a data structure, then probably I use a lot of data structures, but that's not data structure, right? That's simple object.
That's simple, yeah.
So yeah, it's good. Following good object structure is very simple. Storing data efficiently, retrieving it efficiently, that's a completely different thing altogether.
Yeah, most of the thing we are doing with the setter and getters only.
Exactly. So yeah, that's where I think the level of expertise that is needed on data structures and algorithms is debatable, but I don't find a solution, right? So you want to find the best programmer out there. You don't use data structures all the time, but the 1% or the 0.1% time you need to make use of it, it's very, very important. So it's kind of and you want to find how good somebody is at programming, and data structures and algorithms might be a way to find that out.
One of the comment I have seen in LinkedIn, I forgot the company name. That guy have mentioned from last 20 years I am continuously coding, and I have never implemented the linked list.
I think, as I said before, right? It's not about whether you'll implement a linked list, but the way people who interview for data structures algorithms look at it is, okay, if you are able to implement a linked list, maybe you are good at solving some other thing.
Some other problem,
Maybe you are good at, that's more the intent. I think it's more the intent of identifying, how do you differentiate? I have 100 people, how do I differentiate among them, right? So probably if I use algorithms as a way, probably that's a big differentiator.
Yeah, great, great. And this was a non-debatable. It will go like and like. So now, like coming to
Exactly.
the like, yeah. So in market nowadays, obviously we cannot, ignore the legacy technology. We still have and still running in production, and lots of customer are using it. It's not mandatory that when some new technology will come, it is totally adopted by all the companies. It's not right. So still, like we have Struts one also, many of the projects, Struts two also, JSF also. But the people are working there, they are very happy, but they wanted to come out of that, just to make them up to the market. And obviously for them it's need to be learn the Spring Boot, right? So what the path they have to follow in order to from Struts one, Strut two, JSF to Spring Boot and microservices.
Very, very important, right? So you have to stay in touch with what's happening in the technology world. And especially today, there are so many opportunities that are available that you can like switch to a newer technology much more easily these days, right? So it's very, very important that you focus on learning new things. If you look at somebody who, let's say, working with a little bit of an old framework or technology, and they would want to move to a new thing, right? The best approach would be to try and develop what they are doing with a new framework. So, for example, if they're using JSF and building an application, the uh, the first thing I would recommend them to do is to try and build the same application using the new framework, right? So, if let's say Spring Boot is the framework they want to learn, or Quarkus, or like whichever framework they would want to, so try and build that same application with the new framework. I think that's the best way to learn something new, right? So build it with the new framework and try and learn that. Obviously, you want to learn, like you watch a few courses on Spring Boot and all that, but your goal should be to build the same thing that you are working on right now using the new framework. The second thing I would recommend you to do is to try and deploy it to the cloud as well. So same application that you build, go ahead, learn the cloud and deploy it to the cloud as well. So pick up one of the cloud, try and implement a little bit of continuous integration and continuous development on the cloud, right? So this journey would give them enough and building their skills. While you go through this journey, you will understand that there are gaps in what you're learning, and thereby you can focus, go in depth wherever needed.
Yeah, great. So now, I mean, we are done with the 21. Okay, now 22 is starting. So what you are suggesting, developer to be the, most emerging technology that probably they can learn in 22.
Okay. Uh, for me, fundamentals are the most important. Right? So anytime having good programming skills, being able to build applications, being able to design good applications, those are the most important things. Technologies keep changing, right? Yesterday there is something, today there will be something, tomorrow there will be something. So for me, it's always important to be strong on the fundamentals and have good enough knowledge on the framework. You don't need to be an expert on most of the things that are very, very popular today. So I would recommend you to focus on the fundamentals wherever you are. Like focus on understanding your applications really, really well. Focus on the business of your applications. Do not ignore that. I mean, a lot of us focus a lot on the technology side,
Yeah,
but we don't focus sufficiently on the business side of things.
yeah,
But if you want to really make a difference at your job, understanding the business, why you are doing something,
yeah,
that's very, very important. So I would recommend you to focus on those. And if you are trying to find out new things to explore on the technology side, I would recommend you to start deploying something to the cloud. The application you are working with, probably some of the cloud certifications might be interesting for you to pursue, and also try and see if you can implement things like continuous integration, continuous deployment. So those would be interesting things to try out.
yeah. Like when you are learning any of the technology, right? You are most of them you are going with the employee class or student class, right? The only difference between your learning code and the production code is the data. The production code, you will not get the employee object as very simple. It is. We have very complicated JSON, very complicated XML that you need to translate it. Out of that, you need to create your Pojo class and then you need to fetch it.
Absolutely.
But yeah, only thing is the data matters. Concept is remains same only. How you are creating object here, how you are making a REST call here, that will be there. But it's just that you are maintaining the consistency of data and making sure that data is also flow correctly.
Yeah, the level of the complexity of the applications will be completely. And as you said, data is very, very important.
Data is important only. Yeah. Sometimes you will get the JSON like, oh my god, and they have that JSON output. You cannot change the from source. They have given done their task done. If you reach out, there's no. We have this structure. We have finalized. That's all. You need to think that how you are fetching that child hierarchy from top 10 levels. You are going into that and fetching it. So yeah, that is important. So now
That's why design is very important.
yeah, that design is very important at times. So nowadays, I mean, last week only, all the Java developers are very busy to fixing the log for JSON. What is your comment on that?
I mean, see, if I'm making use of open source software, I have to be ready. I have to be ready to accept the risks that come along
Right,
with it.
right.
So, I mean, today there is no software which is built without open source technology. Almost
Yeah.
everything.
Everyone, yeah,
Yeah, it's impossible to build something without open source technologies. And today, most of all popular technologies are open source. So yeah, it's something which we have to live with. Uh, yeah, and yeah, probably we should be better, doing better at identifying these kind of risks. Maybe we have to be able to find ways of finding them faster. But obviously, there is no quick fix solution. Right? There is
yeah,
not something which I can say, okay, we do this and we'll not have such problems going forward. No, it's a long journey. Right? It's
yeah.
not going to be easy. And I'm sure there will be something like Log4j very soon again.
Yeah. Now they have released the latest one, and they are saying that it is all fixed. But with your last conversation with our champion YouTuber Java brand Cossack. So his one point was really fascinating me, right? Okay, they are the open source developer. They have their own full time job. Okay. Apart from
Exactly.
that, when they are getting time, they are contributing in the open source, and they are not getting benefit out of that. Don't think so any of the company are paying them, just the using their code. So they also have to take the responsibility until unless they will get benefited out of that. So company
Yeah,
organization also has some responsibility to contribute them, so they will get motivated out of that, right? We cannot simply
absolutely. I
blame
think
them. Yeah,
yeah, it's there should be. I mean, in the ecosystem, the enterprises also have a very very important role to play.
yeah,
So yeah, I think finding a way to support open source developers is also very important.
yeah. Cossack sir, if you are watching this one, I love your that point you have made in your video. Okay.
And by the way, if you have no idea about Log4j, and if you're still if you're a Java developer, you don't have any idea about this Log4j problem, just go to YouTube and search for Log4j, and you should land upon Kaushik's video.
Yeah, yeah, he
He has a
explained very well. Yeah.
explaining this problem very very well.
Yeah, he explained very well. Okay, so now I'm the next question. This is very important question, like that there are big audience that they want to learn something to crack the interview. Okay, they are a very small audience, they want to learn something to crack the interview as well as to sustain a job also, to survive into the job also. Okay, so for second person is good. Okay, so for first person, what is your thought, what you are suggesting them to learn, because they are more focusing on question and answer, like top 20 interview question for Spring Boot, they will google out, they will learn it. So it will probably they can able to crack the interview, and it depends upon how interviewer are, but few are them very intelligent, they will understand you very quickly that what you are telling. But few of them, okay, let it be, go for this round. So and then they will go into the real area where they have to code it, they are not able to survive, they are struggling, okay, because they have just mark up the answer. For them, what the suggestion you
See, one of the most important things to understand is that we are in an industry where the only constant is change. Right? Today I'm learning something. Tomorrow it will be something different. Day after tomorrow it will be definitely something else. So there is constant evolution in our industry. How we do things yesterday will not be the way you be doing things tomorrow. So given this kind of a industry, the best way if you want to plan your career is to be really good at it. If you are good at it, you'll be able to spend sufficient amount of time to stay in touch with the technology and continue your learning. Right. So if let's say I'm good at, if I understand how to build a specific kind of application, and if I'm good at those frameworks, continuing this knowledge is very, very easy over a period of time.
Yes.
Right. If you don't know, if you're not good at it, then staying in touch with the trends is very, very difficult. I mean, you might be able to quickly mug up something and say something, but that approach will not lead you anywhere. Right? Today, there is a huge differentiation in the industry between, like, if I go a little while back, right? If I go 20 years back, if you are a really, really good developer and if you are okay developer, industry did not treat you differently. Industry said, okay, you will get X, the other guy will probably get 1.1x. Yeah. But today, industry treats you very differently as well. If you are an okay developer, you might get X. If you are a really good developer, you might get 3x, sometimes even 5x, 10x. Right? So, industry also understands the fact that, okay, are you okay or are you really, really good? Right? There is differentiation for that as well. So, because of those two reasons, like I don't really recommend the approach of just mugging up something for an intern. Yeah. Right. So that's definitely not the approach you'd want to take, because that is not sustainable. That's not something like, because you should look at your career as an investment. It's a long-term investment. It's not a short-term fix. Right. It's not just the great thing about being good at something is the fact that it also makes your job easy. Right. If I'm just mugging up something and clear an interview, it does not help me with the job. So in the long term, I will suffer. But if I'm good at the technology, then it also helps me with the job. It helps me to be really, really good at the job. If you're really good at the job, you can do things much faster and you'll have time to invest in learning whatever happens. Like what's the next thing? Right? Yeah, it's always a cycle, right? If you're not good at it, you struggle to do your job, so you don't have time to focus on anything else. So the first thing I would recommend you to, like if you are just preparing for interview, the first thing I would recommend you to do is to get out of that cycle. It's a very, very bad cycle. Get out of it. Try and understand the technology. Try and become really, really good, because that's what you're doing for your 8 hours a day, right? That's what is earning your bread and money, right? So be good at it. So try and get good at it. Unless you don't want to be a programmer, right? If you don't want to be a programmer, that's a different thing altogether. Yeah. Then do whatever you want. Whatever, but if you do programming for a long time, if you're looking at 10, 15, 20 years as a programmer or a tech lead or an architect, try and become good at it. Become good at it, and that's the only long-term sustainable.
Right. If you are a developer, your life should go with coding only. It's nothing. Theory will come out of coding only. Whatever, if you go through any documentation, the theory is not there. First coding they have developed, then they made the theory for you to understand. Right? Publicly.
Exactly. Yeah. Once you are able to implement something, you'll be able to explain it much more easily.
Yeah. And an explanation way will be different. It depends upon everyone thought. Right. It cannot be everyone match. Great. One of the great question I got from your last conversation, that I just heard that you are most, we are watching test matches. You are loving test matches rather than any format. Okay. So
I'm excited about tomorrow's match as well.
Okay. Yeah. So this is the right time to ask questions. So I was just thinking that, okay, test match, you are loving test match, and that is obviously slower than the one day and T20. Then how your would-be course is very fast and letting a developer grow very fastly. Since you are watching a match and then doing the code.
So good. Yeah, I love testing it. Right? It's like for me. I mean, it's not like I hate T20 or something. I mean, I feel T20 has its own purpose. I understand why T20s are there, and they are really, really good in terms of getting new audience as well, as I said earlier. However, for me, I love cricket. Right? It's like for me, strategy, right? Like there should be some kind of thinking skills based on. So for me, Test cricket brings all that together, and also um, each session is different, right? So the first session is completely different from last session.
Right, right. And
So
same pitch also. Yeah.
exactly. So it's like there are so many variables which come into picture when it comes to Test cricket, right? So what like one session a team might have scored 100 runs without losing a wicket. The next session they might get all out with 50 runs, right? So yeah, the variations are a lot as well when it comes to Test cricket. So it's a lot more exciting for me. I mean, for me personally, I feel like I mean, I watch a lot of Test cricket, not just the Indian matches.
Yeah.
Like, I was watching the recent Ashes series matches also, so I would have watched at least half the matches of first two tests between England and Australia. So yeah, that's something which I really really like. Yeah, and also when it comes to the courses, obviously, right? So I don't want to waste your time. If I create a test match in a T20 generation, I cannot create test courses. So I have to create T20 generation.
Right, right.
I have to adapt with the time as well.
Yeah,
So
correct,
still,
correct.
I might be old with respect to my thinking with respect to what I like, but I'm in a business as well. So my business should be adapting to the newer trends. Yeah, I think that's probably why.
Yeah, actually, you are in probably you are in. I mean, good in I mean, old in your thought, but you are making others up to date with the technology.
Yeah, old
Yeah,
in my thoughts may not be every time, but with respect to cricket, yes.
yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I mean younger generation also like the test cricket, but it's just that like younger generation, like they don't. Everyone is not entrepreneur, right? So the T20 is just one meeting done. They will watch T20 and another meeting will come. Okay, so in between they will
Exactly.
finish the entertainment also.
And
Yeah,
also, there are a lot of other interests, right? For example, I don't watch any of the streaming content. I watch almost zero streaming content. Like I watch
yeah,
movies, a few movies here and there, but zero streaming content. And yeah, that gives me time to watch this cricket. Maybe like if you look at younger generations today, they have so many things to do that test cricket is too slow for most of them.
yeah. Because nowadays, like 10 seconds video are more trending than your 1 hour YouTube educational video.
Absolutely. I mean, in YouTube today, probably the 1 minute short videos are much more popular than
More popular
the
than
long
yeah,
one.
yeah,
Right? So
yeah.
it's how the world is today.
Yeah, I also. But that is anyhow big conversation will go. But personally, like from if you ask my thought, like that if you scrolling your mobile in order to watch the short video, they will there the influence in your mind will be very short time also, and you will get fun confused if you watch 40 or 50 video. At least in one scroll for pakka you will watch 40 or 50 video. After that you will not be able to think that what you have watched first video, because 10 second will not your mind will not give that much attention to you.
It's actually a way of it's like an entertainment. That's how I see it. Like
Yeah.
you have 2 minutes,
Mm.
probably like different people have different ways of getting their entertainment for content for the day. That's one way. I like it's not a means of learning, but it's a mean of like, entertaining yourself.
Right, right. So now coming to the most favorite area, the cloud area. So for a beginner, right, who are just doing the Java coding, okay, probably they are knowing some UI technology. Which cloud you will suggest for them to start?
So I think cloud is something which is here to stay. Right? If you ask me, okay, will Java be here in 15, 20 years? Will Python be here in 15, 20 years? Will Spring Boot or any of the framework be here in 15, 20 years? Even Angular React, will they be here in 15, 20 years? I don't know.
Yeah,
But
maybe may not be.
will
Yeah,
AWS be here? Will Azure be here? Will Google Cloud be here? Yes, for
yeah,
sure they'll be here. Right?
yeah.
So it's very, very important. It's getting popular and they will be here for a long term, like for a long time. So it's something which everybody has to learn. Right? If you're in technology today, the one mandatory thing that you need to learn is the cloud. And The second question you were asking was which cloud to learn.
Yeah, starting. Yeah.
There is no answer. There is no good answer to that. So it's more like if in your project or wherever you're working in, they are using a specific cloud, go ahead and learn that, right? When it comes to the cloud, as far as I'm concerned, it's important to focus on one cloud and learn it really, really well. So
right.
I would not recommend trying to learn AWS, Azure, and Google Cloud in parallel. That's not going to work. What I would recommend you to do is to choose one cloud, AWS or Azure or Google Cloud, whichever you have the highest probability of using in the next year or so.
Yeah.
Choose one, at least spend a year or two on that cloud. So spend 1 year or two, because these are skills which will be useful for your entire career. Right? So cloud is something which is, I would say, which is similar to programming. The programming skills you got, they'll help you throughout the career. Similar to that, your knowledge of cloud is also going to help throughout the career. Yeah. And to focus on that, spend a lot of time on it. If you want, do a few certifications and spend a lot of time on it. If the cloud which you choose does not matter, it's important to spend some time and learn it very well. Once you learn one cloud very well, you would see that learning other clouds is very easy. Once you are good at AWS, you can easily learn Azure or Google Cloud. But be good at it. Get really, really good at it. Now, if you go in depth, right? If you go further, let's say you chose a cloud and you want to learn it really, really well. The approach I would recommend is first do a beginner certification, right? So, for example, if you're choosing AWS, you have AWS Cloud Practitioner. If you are choosing Azure, you have AZ 900. If you're choosing Google Cloud, you have Google Cloud Digital Leader. So pick up one of these certifications and complete that certification. That should be your goal number one. The second goal should be to deploy your application, whichever you're working on, to the same cloud. So now that you have one certification, you know what are the options that cloud provides. Go and use the different options and deploy your application to the cloud. Right. That gives you a good experience of deploying your application to the cloud. What are the challenges? What are the things that you need to do that? And then probably the third thing that you can do is to go for developer or architect certifications. If you are in the programming line, probably you want to do a developer certification or an architect certification, so that you can extend your knowledge. So those are the three things I would recommend somebody who's starting with a cloud to do. However, if you have a project you're working on, that's good. Nothing like that. If you are already working on a cloud project, then probably you already have access to a lot of things. So probably the first thing you can start with is to deploy your application to the cloud and see how it goes.
Yeah, so all the clouds are same, so people can start from any of the cloud, depends on their interest or their usability, what they are going to use. So there is nothing prerequisite that you have to go with a certain order. Yeah.
No, if somebody is saying AWS is going to be number one in 10 years, then they are lying. Nobody knows.
Nobody knows. Yeah.
Nobody knows what will happen in 10 years.
Everyone is adding their service on cloud. Keep adding, all the cloud services.
All three cloud platforms are equally good.
Equally,
so there is nothing to choose, and nobody knows. Nobody knows which one will be the most popular cloud platform. And actually, I think all three will be doing really, really well even in 10 years. So it does not matter which one you choose.
Yeah, even though I saw many of the LinkedIn comments, right, people are completing the certification, cloud certification, tagging you like they have learned from your courses and they have completed certification easily. So I just wanted to say that if you just go through the course is well enough to make you certify your technology, cloud technology. That is good.
Absolutely. The important thing is certifications are just step one. Right. So it's not, usually I hate certifications.
Yeah.
But the cloud, getting a good perspective on the entire services which are present in the specific cloud is difficult. You cannot, AWS has 200 services. You cannot work on all of them, right? The only way you can get good experience on, at least a high-level overview of all of them is to do a few certifications on the cloud. But nothing replaces the hands-on experience, right? So certification is the first step. Go ahead and deploy applications. That's the only way you will be able to learn cloud.
Right. So now just we wanted to know that your upcoming courses on YouTube and your Udemy.
Yeah. So I think because last few months I have not really created any courses as such. So it's been I've been taking a break. yeah, and going forward, one of the most important updates that we will be releasing is Spring Boot related stuff, right? So, like we have almost 10, 15 courses on Spring Boot, like web applications, REST API, microservices, full stack applications. So, all of them would need an upgrade when there is Spring Boot 3, right? I think Spring Boot 3 would come sometime next year, and we want to be prepared for that. So, that's the number one goal for next year for me.
This is for Udemy.
Yeah, this is for, yeah, in general, right? We'll also put the same content out on, like, maybe some of the content out on YouTube as well. Okay. So yeah, it's like as soon as Spring Boot 3 is out there, we want to update most of our courses out to Spring Boot 3. So that's goal number one, and probably a few cloud certifications. So like one of the like with respect to AWS, we are not market leaders on Udemy, but we are doing really well with respect to Google Cloud and also the entry-level Azure certifications. So yeah, I'll need to investigate which of these certifications would be good ones to work on in the next year. Probably, I think Google Cloud Data Engineer and maybe Google Cloud DevOps. Those would be the next two courses. I'm not 100% sure of them yet, but I think those would be the courses that we'll be releasing in the next year.
Okay, so we are waiting for that to release. Yeah. You have also seen that nowadays the college student, like 12th or 10th student, they are also interested in coding. They are not sure that what is the use, how they are going to make this career on that, but somehow they are enjoying the coding. I have seen many of the small video on LinkedIn. They are in Python, in machine learning. They are just playing some game, some hand kinds of thing. They are the 10th class student, 12th class student, okay, and they are more enthusiastic on that. Some of them are okay from the good background, some of them are little challenged, financially challenged, okay. So they have that much that they can recharge their mobile with internet to access the free content, but they, because YouTube is not the way that they can learn everything. This is not subsequent. Very few of the creator are giving the all the things, right? So somehow they have to reach out to the Udemy, like other paid courses. So assuming that if they wanted to reach out to you, so is there, I mean, how they can be reach out to you personally?
Yeah, if there are people who want to learn programming and if they are not able to afford it, they can always email me at team28minutes@gmail.com. So that would be the best way to reach. Just send an email and give me a brief description of what they have done until now,
Yeah.
and also a high-level overview of what they want to learn and why they want to learn it.
Yeah.
I think that should be more than sufficient.
Yeah.
You can send me an email at team28minutes@gmail.com. I think that would be the best way to start a conversation. Yeah, it's like that's something which I really care about, right? So especially if you look at India, especially if you look at rural India, I think there's like the reach for like making courses more accessible to them. I think that will be really good, and yeah, it's something like that's one of the reasons that we would want to also create a lot of content on YouTube. Right? So we want to be able to have at least entry level content available on YouTube, so that a lot more people can access that and learn from it.
Yeah, good. Thank you for helping them. Okay, I will put that email ID in my description, that you can get it from there. And I just wanted to add you few points that earlier, like just 4 years back, right, rural area doesn't have the internet, right, with the lowest price. How now they have? So they are also getting interested into the getting into the world. So because of financial, we cannot stop them to come. They are the future of India, right?
Exactly.
And if we will give our helping hand, they will be coming out, probably getting.
Absolutely.
And I'm seeing that for now, I mean, from few decades, I'm seeing that for company, that educational certificate doesn't matter, like how Google have. Anyone can go and code it and get the job.
Absolutely.
Yeah, since that educational certification required money, obviously everyone cannot afford the higher education, but knowledge they can afford it, like how you are helping to the people. Knowledge, they can build the app using Python and show them, I am 10th class student, I built this. Will you give me job? And the company is happy to take them. I have seen many
absolutely. I think that's how things are.
Yeah.
In the Western world, that's how things are. Your educational qualifications do not matter as much.
Doesn't matter. Yeah.
I think in India, they do matter a lot. But over a period of time, I think the importance of education qualifications would decrease. Right? Today, if you say I'm from IIT-IIM, it matters a lot. But hopefully over a period of time, it will not matter as much as it does today.
Because there are many people who wanted to do something, but they don't have sufficient resource to do. But somehow you helping them is a very thank you for that.
I would be happy to.
So the last question of this talk, that is again a very important question: how you handle the failure, or advice to handle the failure? That is, everyone have their own.
Absolutely. I'll just give an example. Right? So you're saying I have 49 courses, right? So out of the 49 courses, you would see that almost 10 to 15, at least last 20 of the courses will not have even 1,000 students on them, right? So it's like, for example, for me, I chose a specific kind of job where usually I don't know whether a course will succeed or not when I'm creating. When I'm creating the microservices course, I didn't know that 100,000 students will watch it, right? Sometimes I would have created a much better course than that. And today, almost no students watch it at all. So it's it's the same, right? On YouTube, for example, you put a video and you actually probably create a really, really good video you like, you think really, really good, and you might not get a lot of views. And you might choose a crappy topic and create a video, there might be thousands of people who are watching it, right? So the results are not in our control, right? Typically, whenever we do something, what are the things in our control is making sure that I put the best effort towards doing that really, really well, making sure that it's to the best of my abilities, marketing it to the best of my abilities. The results definitely are not in our hands, right? So somehow I think pressure is all about expectations and trying to remove the expectations as much as possible. It's very, very difficult. Humans have expectations. If I'm sitting here and talking to you, I have expectations. If I'm doing something, I have expectations. Getting our expectations out is very, very difficult, but that's the only way. If you really want to do things in this world where pressure is only increasing every day, I think the only way is to separate yourself from expectations and do the best you can, right? So if I'm doing something, if I'm talking to you, I would want to put my best face. I would want to talk to you in the best way possible, put all my effort possible into making sure that this interview is really, really good. That's the only thing which is in my control, right? Rest of the things, don't worry about them. Do your best. If you want to market it, do your best at marketing it, but don't worry about the rest of things. So that's how I manage, right? I try and focus on what I'm doing. I want to do it to the best of my abilities, and results don't really matter. It's actually that philosophy was very difficult for me to follow. 4 years back, 3 years back, right? When I was starting in 28 minutes, when I was beginning getting started with it, it was very, very difficult because I did not have the results. But I said, okay, no, I want to create a lot of content. I would want to I decided, okay, if anybody says Spring Boot, there should be in 28 minutes associated with it. And I created 15 courses. Initial days, there were not so much results. But because I separated myself from the results and just focused on creating a lot of content, it was easy. If I waited for the results, I would not have had the same success. So it worked somehow. But in general, I try to separate myself from the results. Just focus on putting the right effort. Obviously, I would evaluate of every few months, like every 3 months, every 6 months, every 9 months, I evaluate whether I'm doing the right thing, decide what to do, and focus on doing that.
Right. Like if you don't have control on something, you just leave it that. Whatever you have control, keep doing that thing. That's all.
Exactly. Obviously, you want to think what to do differently, but that should not be the only thing you should do, right? So the way I work is yearly, right? So every year I decide, okay, what are my goals for the next year? What are the things I have to do differently? And I try and execute it to the best of my ability. And if there are small changes here and there, I make them. And at the end of next year, again, I decide, okay, what should be my goal for the next year? right? So that's how it works. Like trying to keep things simple, try and execute the best possible.
Right. So yeah, it's the same experience I also had, that I just recorded one video where I need to read the properties file into the using Spring Boot. Okay, so I have recorded three video for that, especially considering all the permutation and combination, and that video did not went that much boom where my first video went. And for this three video I have spent too much effort because the content was also not there on internet in very systematic way. So I have just struggled, do some R&D, and then I'm able to get the result, and then recorded. Now coming to the last session of this one, which is rapid fire.
Oh,
So
okay.
yeah, so only one out. You have only one option to tell. Okay, Python
I'll try
or
my best.
Python or Java.
Java.
Okay, great. Spring or Spring Boot. One.
That does not matter.
Okay, okay, okay. Java 5 or Java 8.
Java 8, easily. Functional programming.
Oh wow. Yeah, Java 5. Why I like most. I have kept the video of Java 5 in my YouTube channel, and it went very low view. My intention to keeping that video only Java 5 because of generic.
Okay.
Generic changed the Java itself. So and that
Absolutely.
came Java 5, and I cannot stop my playlist to have only generic. So I have recorded all the Java 5. Most lovable is the variable argument and generic. That was the
Yeah, I think
interest.
Generics is very, very important.
Very
I
important,
think,
and
yeah,
no one
absolutely.
replaced them. Either no one upcoming release, they have not replaced them. Generic.
I think generics is important. Like, I think if you ask me what are the most important Java versions, I would say Java 5,
Hmm.
Java 8, and Java 9. I
Java
think
9.
those are the three most important ones.
Yeah.
Java 5, as you said, generics.
Hmm.
Java 8, functional programming, and Java 9 for bringing modularity. Now, with
Java
the
9.
containers and everything involved, being modular is very, very important. You cannot have a 200 MB Java distribution in a
Yeah,
container.
right. That is a very important thing. And the private method, I also like an interface in Java 9 that they have released.
Okay, okay,
I have recorded that Java 9 also in our channel. We have Java 9 also.
cool. And probably I think records is the next feature that I really, really like.
Yeah,
At least I think reducing boilerplate
yeah.
is very, very important. I
Very
mean,
important.
typically, if you have a Java application, I would say more than 50% is boilerplate code. And hopefully,
Yeah,
you'll
that
be
will
good
get.
at avoiding that.
Yeah. AWS or Azure?
Google Cloud.
Okay, good. And this question
I
everyone
mean,
know? Okay.
it's nothing to do with AWS or Azure or Google Cloud per se. I think each of the clouds is individually unique. It's just that on Udemy we had a lot of success with Google Cloud. I've
Oh,
created AWS courses, Azure courses, and Google Cloud courses as well. And individually we had great success with Google Cloud courses. So
wow.
yeah, that's why Google Cloud. But I love all
Congratulations.
the three.
Yeah. Okay, this question everyone know. ODI or test?
Test
Everyone.
matches.
Okay, this one is most difficult. ICC 20 or IPL?
ICC T20 any day.
Okay.
Like, I mean, these days, I mean, I think last couple of IPLs I watched a lot because of the pandemic.
Yeah.
Usually, I don't watch a lot of IPLs, but every T20 World Cup since the time Dhoni won the first one for us, like T20 World Cup, definitely I would watch.
Wow. Yeah, that is great achievement for India actually.
Absolutely, I think it made a huge difference, right? It's like I would say T20 World Cup win in 2007 was the biggest turning point. I
Yeah.
mean, a lot of
Indian
things
cricket.
really
Yeah.
happened. Yeah, Kapil Dev won 1983 for us, right? Dhoni, like in between, Ganguly changed a lot of things with respect to leadership and everything
Right.
else. I mean, bringing the attitude of like we are equal to everybody on the field.
Everybody. Yeah.
Nobody is bigger than us, right? So
Yeah.
that was very, very important. But like the last 10 years of dominance that we have in cricket world, we never had. Like
Yeah.
we might not have World ICC World Cups, but we won 70% of the matches we played in.
Right.
Right? And for me, the biggest, and that for me, the final nail in the coffin, they would say, right? That was 2007 World Cup. From that time, I can definitely say we are among the top cricket playing countries.
Right. The role happened with the Saurabh Ganguly. Saurabh Ganguly given aggression to the team player. They should not be yes sir, yes ma'am. Be aggressive on field, okay, and that
I think,
Dhoni sustained that attitude with the team.
yeah, in his own way,
His own way, yeah.
But yeah, exactly. But it's important, right? I mean,
Yeah.
if I am in a specific thing, I'm competing with somebody else, I would want to give the best. I should not act, I mean, I should not be thinking in my mind that, okay, the other guy is better than me.
Yeah,
Right? So,
right.
I mean, you should not, yeah, the attitude should be, hey, like, I'm here to fight.
Yeah.
Right? I don't want to give an inch.
Yeah.
That attitude matters a lot. And also, like, you can see that translate to rest of the things in India as well. Right? So today, we are much more confident country than what we were back before.
From all the field, I think IT also we are the top. Your name is like across the world in 28 minutes across the world. It's not all about only India.
Exactly. It's I think the confidence that we have, like as a country, I think it will only grow. It will only grow with time, and hopefully we'll be doing even greater things.
Greater than and internet play a very vital role. Cheap internet to from rural area people has to come and contribute into the our world. That play a huge role.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. So last question: YouTube or Udemy?
No questions there as well. It's a very easy choice. For me, YouTube was where I started. However, Udemy was what gave me the wings, I would call that. So, it's like Udemy was the platform which helped me really become what we are today, right? So, YouTube is good, but nothing can beat Udemy for us.
Yeah, right. Okay, sir, we have done. Okay, just wanted to know your few points on my YouTube channel API Pothi. How you are? I mean, what is your comment on that?
I'm really happy to see a lot of people creating content on YouTube. Right. So when I started off, like 10 years back, if I go to YouTube and search for content, technology content coming from like Indians, very less. Right. So at that particular point in time, I think Kaushik was the only guy who was creating content.
Yes.
And I was searching for inspiration there. And today I see a number of people doing incredible job, right? So you have now 10K subscribers. I mean, getting into content creation and especially getting into technology related content creation related to programming is very tough thing, because today on YouTube it's easy to create some entertainment kind of video and become popular very easily
overnight.
What you're doing is taking the tougher choice, which is good in the long term, right? So I'm really delighted with the efforts you're putting in, right? So to achieve this much success on YouTube in this short time is really good. So I'm really happy with what you're doing.
Thank you very much. I mean, I just want to say you are my inspiration.
The fact that you are doing it additionally on top of what your job is means a lot of additional effort, and keep creating content, right? So the most difficult part is to focus on the real thing which gets us people watching it. That's content. A lot of people spend a lot of time on marketing. Marketing is important, but having the highest quality content is the most important.
Most important,
so
right?
Focus on that.
I am the alone, so whatever doing, I am only doing. Thanks, Ranga. Thanks for giving your time, and it was very nice talking to you, and very healthy, and very informative also. So whoever watch, they will definitely get benefited out of that. I have tried to cover all the relevant things so that you can able to answer. Okay, and all the question that you only has to give the answer. Other than that, I didn't see anywhere. So we will meet again soon. Okay, thank you for that.
Thanks for having me in here, and hopefully we'll have another chat when you reach 50,000 subscribers.
Oh, wow. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thanks a lot. Take care. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.